Welcome to Real Women's Stories on Christmas Eve. I wanted to record a slightly different episode this week because Christmas means different things to different people. And we have got some fantastic voice notes from you listeners. And thank you so much for taking part in this episode. But I just want to start with talking about what Christmas means to me, because I've had a little bit of my own journey with it from being young and excitable. My parents were divorced when I was younger, so I used to go and have to split my time between families. But we always made sure that that was coordinated, in a really nice way. My parents made sure that Christmas was good. Christmas is about kids and it's about having fun and it's about family. So they would always take it in turns to have myself and my brother between my dad and my mum, and they would make it really special for us. For me, Christmas, it's the music that always gets me. And certain songs will make me nostalgic about a Christmas that I spent with my mum or a Christmas that I spent with my dad and my grandparents. I'm sure Christmas means different things to all of us. And then as we get older, we become parents. We kind of have the pressures of monetary side of things, gifting, how do we go about all this? And depending on how old our children are, what's the right amount of money to spend? Have we got the money in the bank? Are we having to, buy presents and gifts for aunts and uncles and nieces and nephews? And I think that we all do what we think's best. And the one thing you have to remember, no one's going to be upset if they don't get a present as an adult, because Christmas is about children. As long as the kids are fine, no adult's going to be upset. So don't put pressure on yourself financially to go and buy presents for all these different people. Just being in each other's company, having fun, sharing a meal, sharing some Christmas cheer with each other is one of the most important things that you can do. And that's what Christmas is for me. It's about family, giving to the kids, making all the kids a fuss, about Father Christmas, about this real special, magical time of year. And then for us as adults to let all those anxieties just go, let your hair down and give each other lots of hugs and kisses and lots of cheers, be it alcohol or non-alcoholic. So I guess as we get older, you suddenly become a teenager and you get in your 20s. Christmas kind of just becomes a bit of a bore. It did for me. It was kind of like, oh, it's Christmas again. So I used to try and go away at Christmas. So I would spend my Christmases in Thailand when I was in the 80s. I was kind of in my late 20s, and we just had the best time ever. And my parents, I guess, we didn't have FaceTime then, but, we would make phone calls and wish each other a happy Christmas. But for me in my 20s, it was about going out, having fun, spending time, exploring different countries and what they do at Christmas. Then when I became a parent, that all obviously changed. And Christmas, my main focus was the children and making sure that our kids were okay. Now, I have a bit of a different situation because my children lost their mum, and Christmas was a really, really delicate time for kids who have lost their parents. So it was very hard, because even though we wanted them to be happy, it was the memory that they didn't have their mum around, and that's really hard. So I think as I then got older and Adam and I got together, Christmas, we had to be very careful about, what we said and how we celebrated it. And we would always remember that the children didn't have their mum around. So it wasn't as cheerful as we would have wanted it to be. And I'm sure that there are people during the Christmas time that feel exactly the same. They've either lost a parent themselves, and it's that first Christmas without that special somebody in their lives. We all feel it. And I think what I've always done is I've always raised a glass in memory of anyone that hasn't been around in my life or isn't around in my life, to cheers them and say, I'm remembering you today. we can still be festive, we can be happy. And I know that you're somewhere up there celebrating Christmas too. So this episode, as I said, is slightly different. We asked you guys to take part in this episode and to leave some fantastic voice notes, which you have done, on your most memorable, nostalgic, be it happy, sad, endearing, funny. So we've got some voice notes that we would like to play to you, and you can, I'm sure, relate to a lot of these messages that come through. And I hope you have a little chuckle, or I hope you feel that, you know, this is a little tender arm around you if some of them do touch a soft spot. So here are your voice notes on your most nostalgic Christmas.
Hey Lisa, Emma Howitt here. So you want a Christmas story? When I was, I can't even remember, late teens, early 20s, I went and became a ski bum, a chalet host. Went out there, obviously very young. This would have been one of my first sort of times of being away. So it was quite scary, and although lots of fun and lots of partying, the thought of cooking an entire Christmas lunch for my 12 guests was quite scary anyway. And these particular guests were what we call 2-weekers. So they came for a whole 2 weeks instead of 1 week. So that meant my very first guess, I had to do brand new recipe every single day. And we were given sort of recipes, and I was okay at cooking, but you know, this was already quite a big stretch. And then it came to Christmas Day, and I'm getting everything ready, and it's all going well. And I kept checking the turkey, and it just doesn't seem to be cooking very well. Anyway, it transpires that one of the elements, the bottom element, basically had stopped working on Christmas morning. And the guests were not that friendly. They weren't particularly nice guests. And I inherently had to grill the entire turkey. So, I mean, they did end up eating, you know, turkey and the trimmings, but it was many hours later, and it was all pretty disastrous, but pretty funny as well. So, it all went uphill after that. After that first 2 weeks, everything was a breeze.
Hi, I'm Mimuska, and I'm honored to give my most heartwarming Christmas memory in the Real Women's Stories podcast. Well, I have to say it was when the girls were 5 and 8 years old, and we went for the first time on safari with them. For me, it was the first time, and with the girls in South Africa. And just every morning, waking up super early around Christmas and spending hours in nature, spotting the most amazing Big Five, which it took a few years, but and the girls were so amazed by it, by nature as well. And then on Christmas Eve, sitting around a campfire in the middle of the wilderness, and when we brought them to bed and we came back, they were just holding their hands and fell asleep so close with each other and holding their hands, because it was so exciting. Because actually all the animals around and even the insects are triple as big. So for them, in their little world, in their little children's height, it was a very amazing, intense experience, and for all of us. So I think if I would ask them separately, I think they would say all the same. So I'm wishing you all an amazing Christmas and happy holidays, and all the love for an amazing podcast.
Hi everyone, this is Jo Yarnell here. I live in the Cayman Islands. Been living there for 13 years. Wanted to share a story about one of my most memorable Christmases, which was last Christmas. So being in the Cayman Islands for 13 years, always spent Christmas on the beach. Lucky, I know. And last Christmas, I decided to fly home and surprise my dad, flying home to the UK. That's where my original home is, Essex. So I decided to fly home and surprise my dad. He had no idea. I think I landed on the 23rd, the day before Christmas Eve. And my sister picked me up from the train station and we drove round to my dad's, round to the back. He expected just to see my sister, and then when he saw me, he bawled his eyes out, bless him. But the thing that I was most worried about was giving him an actual heart attack. Safe to say that didn't happen. We had a great Christmas. Spent it around my sisters and just with my nieces and nephews, and I hadn't ever spent Christmas with my nieces and nephews, so that was really, really nice. And just that feeling of nostalgia from, when you're younger, and Christmas is very different in Cayman Islands. And then Boxing Day, my dad had intended to be on his own, so I said, what's your plans, what were you going to do? And he said, well, he was just going to do his usual routine, get up, walk into town, put a bet on, walk back, and have a few beers. So I just said, let's do that together. So it was we didn't even have a Christmas dinner on, or your Boxing Day dinner on Boxing Day. I can't even remember what we ate now. I think it might have just been a pizza or something, and then we had a few drinks and we watched things on TV, the usual Christmas stuff. So that was really, really nice. And then I flew back on New Year's Eve, got to Heathrow, and where I was sitting was actually full, so I got a free upgrade to business class on the American Airlines from London to Miami, which was amazing. This year we are doing a brunch in Cayman Islands, and then we'll be going to the beach. Love the pod, and I've been listening since the beginning. Find it really, really interesting. Happy Christmas to you. Bye.
My name's Angela, and I just thought I'd tell you about an interesting and rather funny incident that happened to both me and my then family some many years ago. I was on holiday in Florida with my then husband and my 2 children. We were anticipating a wonderful Christmas and New Year in sunny Florida. And when we arrived, we were rather surprised that it was rather more chilly than we thought it would be. Anyway, we unpacked our things, settled down for the night, and woke up the next morning to be absolutely freezing. We looked out the windows and there was frost outside. Could hardly believe it. It was Florida. And we then discovered that for the first time in goodness knows how many years, the oranges had even frozen on the trees. Anyway, we went to the airport, we bought 2 tickets and flew home to much warmer weather than we had in Florida.
Hi everyone, my name is Laura. So I moved to London in June 2015 and I was working in hospitality and trying to improve my English, yada, yada, yada. The thing is, I couldn't go and see my parents. So I asked my manager from August to give me some time off. And he said, yes, keep asking and then I will see what I can do. So I was asking every single month and he just said, no, keep asking next month. Came to like November time. And essentially, I asked again, please, I really need you to tell me if I can take just 4 days off for Christmas, from the 23rd to the 27th. So essentially, the manager said no. And I decided to quit my job because family comes first, especially in my culture. When I went to check the ticket prices, even though my parents live in Spain, the price was ridiculous. So I said, Mother, I'm really sorry, but I don't think I can come. It's so pricey to go to Spain right now. She went insane on me, saying like, I gave you birth. I can't believe you're doing this to me. I'm your mother. What is £600 on the scheme of things? What happens if I die? And we never celebrate Christmas again. And, she was just being the dramatic self that she is. And I said to myself, you know what? I've been working really hard. I haven't seen my parents in 6 months. It's worth to pay this money. So, yeah, I paid almost £600 to fly to Spain for 4 days, I think it was. It was very painful paying that type of money, especially when I was 20 and I was on the minimum wage. So you can only imagine how chaotic that was for me. I was really happy to spend Christmas with my parents. And I was really happy that when I came back, I found a job in no time. So yeah, everything sometimes happens for a reason, and trust the process. At the end of the day, your family is the most important thing that you have in this earth.
I really hope you've been enjoying all the voice notes so far. I've had a couple of people write in their messages, so I'm going to be reading them on behalf of two of my lovely listeners. The first message is from Michelle from Edgware, and she says this: Happy Christmas, Lisa. Wow. Thinking back at my best Christmas, it was when we went to a hotel with all our family, and it was one of those rare Christmases when it actually snowed. My mum was alive at the time and was disabled and wheelchair bound. And I had recently fractured my knees and too was wheelchair bound. So my family being the fun, crazy people, we thought it would be a great idea to race me and my mum around the icy car park in our wheelchairs. Boy, did we laugh, and the memory of mum chuckling and giggling like a young girl is one I will never forget. The rest of our time was incredible. We took over the entire hotel, and on Christmas morning, all the kids gathered round the hotel tree to open the presents that Father Christmas had left. It was absolutely magical. Thank you so much, Michelle, for that wonderful memory. And snow, gosh, that must have been a while ago. I can't remember a Christmas when it snowed. On to the second one, which is a lovely poem by a lady named Sally. So the poem's called The Christmas Machine Called Mum. 'Twas December the 1st, and all through the house not a creature was stirring except me, like a mouse. Out came the lists, the plans, the charts. Mapping out Christmas is a magical art. The tree goes up, the tinsel's just so, the baubles are hung. Who else would know? Shopping and wrapping, a marathon spree, all expertly managed by, you guessed it, me. The turkey is roasted, the pudding's on fire. Who needs a rest? Certainly not I. The table is set a week in advance, polished and perfect, nothing left to chance. Then Christmas arrives, and what do they say? Oh, Mum, what a lovely, relaxed kind of day. Relaxed? I'm sweating, my apron's askew, while they're sipping their bubbly and praising the view. The crackers are cracked, the feast disappears, the dishes pile up to the height of reindeers. But where is my family? Asleep on the couch, while I scrape up the gravy and try not to grouch. Still came Boxing Day, I'm on it once more, marking ideas for the next year's decor. And though I complain, and though I despair, Christmas magic, it's Mum's cross to bear. Exhausted and tired and 10 pounds fatter, tired and weary and no more chatter. It's been 10 months of planning, and now it's done. Bring on next year's Miss Festive fun. So here's to us mums, the silent machine, making it look effortless like a festive queen. And though they don't notice the sweat or the strife, I wouldn't trade it, as I'm the Christmas mum and wife. Thank you so much, Sally, for that absolutely gorgeous poem. I thought it was fantastic. Really, really does kind of paint the absolute picture of what us mums do at Christmas. So thank you, Michelle, and thank you, Sally, for sending in those absolutely fantastic messages.
Hello, my name's Michelle, and I want to tell you about a non-traditional Christmas that I had many years ago. It was 1999, and I was travelling Australia with a good friend of mine, and we happened to be there over Christmas, which of course is their summer, and we had the most amazing night out on Christmas Eve and a Chinese takeaway, and then we went to the beach on Christmas Day to meet some friends, and we had a barbecue on the beach, and we had inflatable Christmas trees, and it was everything I didn't have before in the UK. It was warm, and it was very different and non-traditional, but it was one of the most memorable Christmases I had, and I think it just shows that you don't have to have the traditional Christmas to have an amazing time. Merry Christmas, everyone.
My name's Paula. I'm cabin crew, and this Christmas Day I will be flying people onto their holidays. Who would want to fly on Christmas Day? I don't know, but I'll be taking them to their loved ones. Wishing everybody a very happy Christmas and a great new year.
So it was the late 1980s. I was about 10 or 11 years old. My family had recently immigrated to America, and we had been there for a good few months. As we approached December, around Christmas time, all of the houses were exactly how it is in the movies. Everyone's quite OTT. Houses are lit up. They take Christmas very serious in the States. And by this time, things were becoming quite difficult for my family. We didn't have, my parents didn't have permanent work at the time, and the savings that they had brought over were obviously down to the bare minimum due to maintaining the house that we were in. So Christmas Eve, I remember sitting there, we had no Christmas tree, no decorations, just us four children feeling quite down about stuff and not really having much to say. And then around 8 o'clock, there was a knock at the door, and we could hear footsteps running away, which we thought was quite odd. So anyway, my parents went to the door, opened it, and there were bags upon bags of presents, and we brought them in. And when we opened them, there was presents for everyone. There was some money in there as well, which was really nice. And we found out that it was the local church that had did this collection and brought the presents. And I think the nice thing about it was that the gifts were actually thought of. It didn't come across like it was just a collection, like it was really nice gifts, as in someone actually thought, what would the little girls like in this house, or what would the teenage son like in this house, and something for the parents also. It came across like really thoughtful. So it was like really nice, and nice to know that although we did feel quite alone at the time in a really strange country, and not knowing what was going to happen, or it was still nice that your neighbours were kind of looking out for you, and the local community was looking out for us, and we didn't even really know it, so it was just a really nice thing.
Hi, my name's Carolyn. My story is about my lovely mum, Kathy. Like any good Jewish mum, Kathy absolutely loved Christmas. In fact, till her dying day, she believed in the existence of Santa Claus, and she had a really good theory for this. And this was because she believed that it was absolutely impossible for Santa Claus to leave every child a present in the whole world every year. So in your life, you would just get one present that was genuinely from Santa, and you would know it was from Santa because there was no other explanation of how you got it. Your parents didn't buy it for you. Your uncles didn't buy it for you. Nobody bought it for you. So it could only have been from Santa. And if Santa only had to leave
one child a present every year, then it was quite possible for him to leave every child a present at some point in their lifetime. And my mum's experience of this was that once when she was a child, it was during the wartime and toys were really, really scarce. And she came down one Christmas morning and she found an amazing doll, and there was no explanation of how it had got there. Her parents denied that they had bought it for her. It would have been impossible to have bought it for her. It was something that she really, really wanted, and she was absolutely thrilled. So the only explanation could be that it was her one present and Santa had bought it. I too now believe in Father Christmas because my mum's explanation is so great. It makes sense. But even though I'm in my 60s now, I'm sad to say I still haven't had my present from Santa, but I'm still hopeful and I'm waiting, and I know that one day that present will come.
Hi, I'm Emma, and pre-marriage and pre-children, I used to run pubs, and we were a family pub, and we had a lot of regulars, and we were renowned for our food. So come Christmas, we'd have a lot of Christmas bookings for Christmas parties, family get-togethers, just friends meeting up, whatever. So we'd have a lot of Christmas lunch bookings, and we also obviously had a lot of elderly customers that used to come in, and we used to invite them for a Christmas lunch on us, and we try and slot them in when there were other parties going on so that they could feel that they were the part of the party and all the festivities and the jollity, people having a good time. Anyway, this one particular year, we invited Jack, a regular, and I think it might have been his first Christmas with us. And, he was living in an old people's home up the road, and he didn't see much of his family. But he used to potter down every afternoon for his half a pint of ale and his cigar, which he'd been told by the doctors he should not drink. But he was 80, and I think he thought, well, whatever. Anyway, and to be quite honest, we were his lifeline. He hated the home. He hated being in there. As you probably know, lots of these homes, the people have their set in their ways. They sit in their chair. And if you go into some of them, all the people are asleep or dozing or... Anyway, he was really quite lonely in there. So he used to pop down to us every afternoon, and he'd sit at a table with his little beer and his cigar. And obviously we all got to know to him, as all the staff would chat to him. And gradually all the customers used to come in and say, hi, Jack, as they came in on the way home from work and things. Anyway, this particular Christmas, we invited him to his do. So he turned up in a suit, looking very smart, and we sat him at a table amongst the other customers having their lunch. And he put on his party hat, from his cracker. And as the day went on, everybody bought him a half a pint or a cigar, and he sat there and had the best afternoon ever. And not just down to us, but everybody else joined in. Everybody looked after him. Everybody made him feel special and part of Christmas. And then somebody took him home as well. So all in all, it was a really good day, and I never forget his face, his happy, smiling face, just enjoying life. And I'm just hoping that, we did something to make his Christmas a little bit better that year.
So I have to say, my favourite Christmas memories and stories are probably growing up as a kid. My uncle often, with his job, got moved around, so my aunt and uncle lived a little bit further away, so the whole family sort of descended on them for Christmas. They had a bigger house, so they could house us as well, usually for well over a week. I don't know how they done it, looking after all of us. And there'd be my nan and granddad, my uncles on both uncles, mum, brother, sister, so there'll be, and all my cousins, so there'll be, and we used to have extra people on Christmas Day as well. So It used to be nuts. There was a lot of us running around and all together for a good week or so. So that was just lovely. And obviously Christmas is a magical time. And now it's come round in full circle. So unfortunately, we haven't got everyone with us. We've lost my grandparents and my mum. But it's changed. My aunt and uncle have now become nan and granddad. And now us cousins are now the parents, the adults. And now we get to watch our kids and create all the magic for them. So it's just this Christmas, it'll be nuts again. There's about 18 of us at my aunt and uncle's house. And I cannot wait to be there with all my cousins and all the kids. And it's just going to be crazy, but really, really special.
Hello, everyone. It's Gina Murray here, wishing you a very happy Christmas and an exceptional new year. Have a wonderful 2025. This comes all the way to you from Stoke, where I am currently playing The Spirit of the Burslem Bells. And what an honour it is too. So, as both a real woman and a magical fairy, I'm sending you lots and lots of festive joy.
I just want to say a really big thank you for everyone that has left these really great voice notes, and thank you so much for sharing your stories. It does mean a lot to me, and I'm sure to all the listeners. If anyone is struggling this time of year, because as I said, Christmas isn't always a cheerful time for anyone, I take some time out for yourself. You know, if you feel yourself being triggered, if you feel you've got a big family event and you're not really feeling it, just take some time out before you step into the room and think about how you're going to be and try and just stay within that space, because we can make our own space for ourselves within our heads. And if you do feel triggered, just take a step outside. I often go for a walk. If I'm in a family environment and it's getting a little bit too overwhelming, and there have been lots of Christmases where I found it really hard. Being in the situation that we've been in, I would go for a nice 20-minute walk and say, guys, I'm just going to go out for a walk. I need a bit of fresh air. No one's going to be upset. Everyone's going to give you your time and your space. And that's one thing I would, highly recommend you do. So think about how you're going to turn up into that space and keep yourself as calm as possible. And if things are getting a bit too overwhelming, just take yourself out for that moment and give yourself a little bit of mindfulness and reflection on what Christmas means to you, why you're feeling the way you are feeling. Acknowledge it, acknowledge your feelings, and then reset and then go back in the room again. And you'll find that those practices will help you get through some difficult moments and times that you may be feeling or experiencing. Why not go out for a walk and listen to one of the episodes? I'm sure there are lots of topics that you can re-listen to that you might resonate with, or they might help you through. You're coming to the end of the year, and I think it's always good to reflect. And there might be topics that you want to share with your family. It's a family time after all. And some of these topics, although it's real women's stories, that you can share with your kids or your parents. We're trying to kind of build this community. And I think that if you share some of these episodes and some of the stories that other people have been sharing with me on my episodes, my guests, you might find they might actually help you through these times. You've got some time on your hands. So, why not just give them a listen? But I'm going to leave you now, Christmas Eve. Wish you all a very, very happy time over the festive period. And I will see you next week for our New Year's Eve special of Real Women's Stories.